red skin or something.
But it's a very interesting beer. Brewed in that Oktoberfest tradition. Grapes added because of the Napa tradition. They're trying to pull both together on a nice organic farm out in Napa. So I think they did a pretty good job of bringing these together.
Yeah.
There's some type of grapes in the bottom of my glass.
I agree. Yeah. Really nice beer, and like I said, they're marketing on every aspect, from the label to their website, which we're not sure if some of it's 100% accurate, but we know we're not 100% accurate. But the presentation of their website with the brewmaster on there for a quick little thing. It's it's not like you're going to be listening to a dissertation. He's there for a minute and a half, relaxed enough so he can tell you all about the beer. Takes a few sips, and that's all. And it comes across really well. There's anyone who's ever been in sales, and it doesn't matter if you're on what side of the sale you're on. If you're in front of somebody, it's a whole lot different than if you're reading text. So I think that's a really good plus that they have with him on there, and you're saying, oh, wow, because you almost feel like you know him.
Check it out. It's a good beer.
Yeah.
I like it.
Now that we have a fresh glass, it's a lot more snappy, right?
Yeah, it's much more effervescent.
Yeah. And it sheets the glass rather nicely.
Yeah, you let it warm up, and the viscosity is much thicker. It does change the flavors, as it does every other.
But I think you're right, Dave. I think this is more pronounced of a change than some of the other ones we've had.
My 2 cents on this beer is honestly, like, it's a fantastic beer. Really nice, well done, kind of a strange American hybrid. So Chris and I are like pretty congruent with our
on the same
palates.
page.
Yeah. So New World beers not necessarily our thing, but this is really kind of oddly traditional for an American brewery, but also at the same time very non-traditional.
One of the things I get a kick out of it is that this is a lager, and as we've talked before, I always look with a jaded eye at craft brewers making lagers, because sometimes they come out good, sometimes they're okay. They're not bad. None of them are bad, but they don't stand up to the European ones. This one is an excellent beer. I think this is a fabulous beer, and it stands up. It holds its own. Well-balanced. Nice beer.
Now, I have to mention, I was just looking at the website, and one of the things they say is all of their beers are developed for the table. Everything that they're not just brewing beer to brew beer. They're brewing beer because they want it to be like fine wine on the table. So
that makes sense.
The fact that we're starting to talk about food prior to, like in a reverse way, we're talking about pairings prior. That really makes a lot of sense if this is what they're trying to accomplish.
Yeah, it's like Mark already knew about that.
It's almost like I did my research.
They paired it with grilled sausages.
That's what Chris said. That's what Chris said.
Yeah. Deli-style sandwiches and roasted turkey.
I mean, I definitely get the sandwich meat. Definitely. I wouldn't pair this with sausages so much as I would with the Stiegel. I mean, that's more, for me, that's more specific. This is not really a sausage beer. All right. Napa-Smith.
Beer number 2.
Organic IPA.
Yes.
Yeah. The organic IPA.
On to my favorite type of beers, which is IPAs.
That's right.
Which is oddly my least type of favorite beer.
This beer is...
This is why Mark and I do not get along.
We get along perfectly. What are you talking about?
No, we get along. We just have a love-hate relationship.
Well, I mean, I hate...
We're about to go into the hate aspect of it right now.
We're getting into it now.
We do not have a love-hate relationship. You and I love Negronis.
Oh.
There you go.
Yeah, cheers.
We love Negronis.
Too bad.
If you don't know what a Negroni is, Google it. But it's a fantastic cocktail. Dave and I drink them a lot.
Yeah, I drink a lot of those.
And it's a gin, Campari, and
I know it better than you do, and you make
French
it for
vermouth
me every time.
Well, cheers to the Negroni then.
Well,
cheers.
Yeah, cheers.
I need beer to be cheering.
Yeah, well, you need some beer.
I can say one thing right now, though. Every time I do get a Negroni, Mark does serve me the one, and it flames up, and it's awesome. And I don't like it if I don't get the flames.
Oh, yeah. Do we need to talk about the
It's
flame
flames.
ups? Howdy, this is Cowboy Mark from Brooklyn, and you're listening to Key West Beer Tales, the sum of all beers. So I think
close.
Dave Sr. is actually discovering the first thing I wanted to discuss about this.
Yeah, what's going on?
Well, I'm looking down the barrel and I got the hiccup, so I got to talk real quick and then turn it over to somebody else. But it's got some sediment there.
Dave Sr. just won the prize.
As
won the prize.
bartending and Cork and Stogie, I have done that with this IPA. And I've rolled it across the bar to get the sediment off the bottom. And people are like, no, why are you doing that to my IPA? And I tell them it's an organic IPA, which is, and I was talking to you the other day, Chris, that is somewhat of an unfiltered IPA. So there's a lot of sediment in
There's
it.
a tremendous amount of sediment.
And you
in this
need to
beer.
roll it across the bar and make sure you get all that sediment into your beer when you drink it. So it's almost like a Hefeweizen.
Yeah.
And it's one of the only IPAs I've ever poured that pours like a Hefeweizen. Because you have to get that out of there, and then you leave maybe an inch of beer on the bottom. Excuse me. Roll it in the hands. Pour the rest on top. That way all the sediment and everything gets into that beer so you can taste the full potential of this beer the way it rolls. And as an IPA drinker, it is probably one of, outside of Cigar City IPA, it's one of my favorite IPAs.
It's very unique in the sense that it's not filtered as much as I had originally seen any other IPA filtered. There is a tremendous amount of sediment. I actually did the research, and to find out that it wasn't actually reconditioned in the bottle, because when you have that much sediment, it sort of leans to these or double conditioning or something like that,
Sure,
or even further bottle conditioning, like a Cooperstown or something like that. But it's not. So it's bottled sediment heavy. I mean, like, it's bottled with a lot of what they call impurities, although I don't actually believe that is a very true statement for this kind of stuff.
Well, it is a certified organic IPA. Every
that just means
ingredient
there's
in here
no
is certified organic. By
That just means they're made from all natural products, and they're
It
not.
doesn't change the
CC
brewing process.
it
and
doesn't-
CCOF.
Yeah, that doesn't mean
It's not brewed
that's
any
not
different.
filtered. But this is unfiltered, and it's very, very good.
It is.
All right, I have to interject here just for a quick second. We have not had a word for the day. You said a word 3 times in one sentence, therefore it's the word of the day, beer.
Beer.
Cheers.
So every time we have the
We
word
gotta have
beer,
something. We're running way behind on that word. And hopefully here again, if you're hearing that word now, you're cheering with us, and it's
What
a-
word
We
was
got
that,
some
Dave?
catching up to
I
do.
think it was the word beer.
Beer!
So,
Cheers.
Cheers.
and I've read the bottle where it talks about the pairings, Mark, and I know you started the other one,
Yeah, I started the other one a little early.
with pairings. But I'm not going to let the cat out of the bag on this one as to what the pairings are. And now that I've read it, I agree with it, so I can't come up with anything original. so I'll be last to
let's
talk
just-
about the
just-
pairings.
Just to go over a couple of differences between this one and the last. We've already talked about the sediment, which is paramount. Also, this one, again, the brewer himself, I went by his figure, not their website. They're close. They're only a point off. 7.1% alcohol and 75 IBUs.
And the other one was 25.
That's
so
correct,
yeah,
yeah.
it's a
Well,
So-
I mean, as far as I'm concerned, I've had, and again, as an IPA drinker, I love my IPAs. The 75 IBUs does not taste like a 75 IBU beer. It really doesn't. It's so mellowed out the way that they did this beer. They mellowed out the IBUs.
It tastes. Honestly, I disagree. It does actually taste like it's in the upper 60s for me.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I don't really have a perfect palate for bitterness because a lot of times super bitter beers to me are like awesome, and sometimes they're not. But like I would definitely say this is in the upper 60s, probably close to 75.
Well, yeah. Well, they rated it as a 75.
Yeah.
But I mean, for me, I like the really heavy bitter IPAs.
Yes.
And this does not, as a 75 IBU, does not come across to me as the heavier.
Right.
Like some of them do.
Fair enough. Fair
That's
enough.
all.
It was funny when I was on their website. And again, most of their beers have the brewer talking about it, and he brought this one on a different beer. It wasn't one of these, but he was saying that one of the things they do on this one beer is they put an extraordinary amount of hops in. But the thing is, they only take for the majority of the hops, they only take the part of the hops that give flavor, not bitterness. So
Right.
it has a very floral flavor to it
Right.
of the hops, but it doesn't give the bitterness. I'd like to
Right.
try that one. It was their amber ale.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's actually the only one I've ever had before.
I noticed that I think with the bitterness, there's also a kind of a smoky flavor that it has like a smokiness to it that I've noticed.
Well, there's a real Scotch quality to this. So it has like kind of a smoke, but it also is a little bit brackish. So it has a kind of a
Brackish is a good term for it.
a salinity to it. It has a really kind of high sodium content, and which is pretty common for IPAs. Kind of have residual sodium content.
The head brewer, who was Don Barkley,
Yeah.
mentions that the predominant hop they use is the Palisade, which he says gives it a very aromatic flavor to it.
Yes, in Palisade, and it depends on when you put the hops in when you're cooking your beer. But yes, absolutely,
Yeah.
Palisades will always kind of give it more of a nose than an actual flavor.
Now the
I
other
still
two,
taste the caramel hop.
the other
It's
caramel
not
hop.
It's not hop.
The other two, I'm not
know.
familiar with. I don't think
Malt.
I've ever.
Tetnog. I'm
Tetnog.
not sure. I'm not familiar with the last one. Tetnog is one of the noble German hops.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. The
Smaragd.
yeah, that one I'm not familiar with.
Smaragd.
I believe it's Old World.
Old World.
I don't even it.
As
Mark,
long as it's
if-
beer.
It's been a
If you
while
see-
since I've actually.
As
Beer.
long as it's
Beer.
beer.
Beer. If you see the spelling on it, Mark, I don't know. Do you have one of the sheets there? Take a look at the spelling. It doesn't. I don't know what language that would be. It's not
Norse,
German.
maybe.
There's a lot of consonants all pushed together.
Well, it doesn't look
Okay.
Germanic.
Okay.
I don't know what it is.
Let's see what Mark says.
Okay. So just
sorry.
based on phonetics alone, I'm going to say that it's either Norse or
It is German, apparently.
yeah. Okay.
Oh, you're fine.
Yeah.
You're looking it up.
It
It's
says
not-
German
It's not long enough word to be
emerald.
German.
It says German.
Oh yeah, that
emerald.
makes sense. Actually, that totally makes sense. German emerald hops.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
that's it. Okay.
I mean, because that literally explains the rest of the flavor of this
So
beer.
how
Yeah.
do we
I mean, like-
pronounce it?
Technog.
Emerald.
Just say emerald.
Not
Emerald.
Tetnog.
All right, cool.
Not
Emerald.
Tetnog. The other one.
Smaragd.
Smaragd.
I'm saying Smaragd. Hops.
Oh,
Smaragd.
I'm
Smaragd.
lost. Somebody just shoot me
Alright.
out of a cannon right now.
someone just shoot Dave out of a cannon. Dave Jr. That is, not Dave Sr.
Yeah,
Dave Sr.
yeah,
has
please.
no interest.
Dave
in
Sr.
this
needs a
kind of
bigger
business.
cannon.
Thank you very much.
Apparently,
He
they're
doesn't- he's not the cannon shooting type.
apparently they're a variety bred to be similar to Hallertau. Hallertau.
Hallertauer, yeah.
Yeah.
That's another one of the major German hops.
Which again
Noble
explains a lot. Because
Okay.
that finishes out the flavor for me. Because I was like, there's this thing that I know, but I don't know where it is.
So
I'm like, and then all of a sudden they're like, oh, it's this one thing, and I'm like, oh, there it is. It's that one thing.
Well, I
And-
thought it was Mark. I thought it was the caramel 20 hops.
Malt. Malt. I got it right now. It's malt.
He's got it down.
So what are we
I can't
finding
Buffalo
out about?
him anymore.
this,
damn
this
it.
brewery has some
Beer?
German roots because the last two beers are
Well,
Well, I mean, yeah, they're
Oktoberfest,
both very
German malts.
Germanic, but the IPA style is not indigenous to Germany.
No, it's not. But we're
the
finding
hops they're using.
the hops they're using,
and that's cool, and that's probably why they have that smoothness.
So I really enjoy this IPA. I think it's a delicious one. It's this brewery is very, very different, very unusual.
Unusual in a very good way.
Yes, very, very good, unusually good, delicious.
3 things I want to say about this. One, I love this beer. It's good beer.
Beer.
Excellent beer.
Yay, beer.
Beer.
Here's the beer. Join us in drinking beer. I hope you're cheering along with us.
Dos.
Two, I think this brewery is doing a great job.
Yes.
I really like everything they've produced.